Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. If you think going on a road trip in an EV means that you have to sit and wait for hours and hours for your car to charge, you would be wrong. I am on a road trip with my family right now. This is the 4th year we have been doing this, so we have got quite the experience of doing this. And in the thousands and thousands of kilometers we have been driven in these Teslas on our road trips, we have basically never sit and wait for our car to charge. Because you just need to learn how to do a road trip in an EV. That also makes it much more enjoyable and relaxed. So let me show you how, and let's dive right in. So before we dive into how we drive our electric car on a road trip, I also want to share a little bit of insight that I have gotten on this road trip as well, because we are seeing more and more EV chargers coming up all over the place. We can also see that the Tesla superchargers is also getting more busy here in Europe, also because we have non-Teslas that are charging at the sites, and some of these cars have the charging port on the other side. So they actually block in two stalls when they charge. But other than that, the charging infrastructure is very, very good. In the 4 years we have been doing road trips, we have never really been waiting on a supercharger. There was one time in Sweden last year in Göteborg when there was 2 concerts in this city, when we all had to leave in the middle of the summer holiday. The chargers closest to Göteborg was really, really busy. Other than that, we have always been able to find a spot. Also because the navigation system in your Tesla is just awesome when it comes to finding chargers, because Tesla of course have their own charging network, and it can just navigate you to your destination, showing you where you need to stop to charge. You can of course change that, and I will get back to that later. But when you're getting close to the chargers, it also shows you how many are available, but also how many cars, or at least Teslas, are driving to that charging station. So we actually changed to another charging station because we could see one we were getting to only had 2 chargers available, and there was 8 cars coming to that charging station. But like 5 minutes away, there was another charging station, and that had 6 chargers, and only 2 was busy, and no cars was going to that destination. So we could easily go there instead. So the navigation system in your Tesla makes navigating through your road trip very, very, very easy. And also very convenient that when you're sitting and looking at the screen, you can see everything around you. You can touch it, get little notes up from what this is, what castle is this. You can get some pictures from there, and suddenly you discover things on the road that you normally wouldn't have seen. So that's pretty cool as well. And now it also has warning for speed cameras and so on. So that's really, really nice. But we are seeing more chargers in general coming up around Europe. And we do also have gas stations like Shell and many others starting putting up EV chargers as well. And when we left Denmark, there was actually a gas station called Uno X that had the price for kilowatt on the sign, as well as the price for diesel and gasoline and so on. And they were definitely trying to do some commercial for their cheap electricity, because it was only 1 Danish kroner per kilowatt hour. So that is equivalent of like 14 cents per kilowatt hour. And the gasoline price was 14.6 Danish kroner. So 14 times more expensive. But converting that into the kilometers you get, for every dollar you pay, you will get something like 3 to 4 times the amount of mileage for your dollar. So having an EV is also very, very great when we get more competition now, because right now there is not that much competition on EV chargers, especially in my country, where there is Eon and Clever that sits on most of it. and their electricity is very, very expensive. They are twice the price of a Tesla supercharger. But if more and more gasoline station puts up more chargers, we will get some more competition going and hopefully get the prices down, so they're Clever and Eons and all these guys don't have to earn like 500 to 600% on top of their electricity bill. I also used a Shell supercharger just for a brief moment because it was just next to the hotel and we just need a little bit of charge to get to the next supercharger. So we went over there and charged for a little bit, but that was very, very expensive. That was almost 10 times as expensive as the Uno X1 in Denmark. So there is happening a lot in the charging infrastructure, and hopefully more and more competition will bring the prices down. But when you are on a road trip in an EV, I wouldn't change it for anything. I would never ever go back to a polluting ICE car. I love driving an EV, especially on a road trip. I think it's much better on a road trip than an ICE car, because this is our Tesla Model Y. We have also been road tripping in our Tesla Model 3, but here in our Model Y, when we drive on this road trip, we have been traveling down through Germany, Holland, France, over to England, and it's now back to France, and then we're going back home afterwards. But in these many thousands of kilometers we have been driving so far, we haven't really waited for a car to charge. Maybe like 5 minutes here and there, but that's basically it. Because when we go from home or from the hotel, as we also found many hotels have destination charges, we just charge overnight, but I'll get back to that in a moment. But when we start from home with 100%, we just go, and maybe in the beginning we will go for 2.5, 3 hours. But then someone in the family have to go to the bathroom. We can't drive for 3 or 4 or 5 hours all the time without stopping for rest. And the Tesla want to go like 3 hours or something like that, but we can't do that. As a family, my kids have to pee, my wife have to pee, I have to pee, because we're trying to enjoy our road trip. So we have coffees and drinks in the refrigerator in the back. I have also shown you before in other videos. We also have a fridge over in the sub trunk as well. So we always have cool beverages with us on the trip. So we drink a lot of waters and cold beverages and coffee and so on. So we have to pee because we're enjoying ourselves on the road. We're not just trying to get from A to B, we're trying to enjoy the road trip from A to B as well. So after a couple of hours, that's basically the furthest we can go. In the morning, when we're just getting starting on a long trip, a long day of driving, maybe we do 3 hours because we at a hotel, the car's charged to 100. Let's get some miles on the road. Then we might do 3 hours, but it's quite rare that we actually do that, because after a couple of hours, somebody has to go to the bathroom. Then we just choose to go to a place that has a charger. So every time we put the navigation on to go to the next destination, the car is telling us, well, we've got to drive for 3 hours now. But we just press the little icon for the chargers, and then we look at the chargers on the road to the next destination. And then we say, oh, this one is only about 2 hours, or 1 hour and 45 minutes, or 2 hours and 15 minutes, or something like that, away from where we are right now. Perfect. We're gonna put that into the navigation, and because Teslas can put in waypoints, we can just put it in. Very, very easy. Love the navigation system on the Teslas. And then we drive towards that one. And hopefully we can all manage to not have to go to the bathroom before that one. And then we go to that one and go to the bathroom. But it's a charging destination, so we plug it in, go do our business, maybe grab another cup of coffee or find some snacks. And if there's a playground, well, we're going to be there a while, because then the kids want to play for 5 or 10 minutes. We let them do that while we enjoy our cup of coffee. So we're trying to enjoy the trip as well. But most of the time, we just go to the bathroom, get the cup of coffee, and then we head back to the car. And that usually takes like 10-15 minutes for the whole family to get through all that. And if you only drive about 2 hours, that is basically all the charging you have to do on a 250 kilowatt charging stall. Then we're ready to go another 2 hours. And then we just charge 15 minutes again and go another 2 hours, 15 minutes again, do another 2 hours. But we're not sitting waiting for 15 minutes for a car to drive. We plug it in straight away, and then we go in, and then we go to the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, some snacks, go to the playground or whatever. We take our time, we don't rush it, but we're not sitting there waiting for a car to charge because we only drive 2 hours at a time. If you drive 3.5 hours straight and then want to charge it up to 90 or 100% again, it will take a long time to charge up that car. But you don't have to do that, and you will not get there faster because you have to sit and wait for a long time for the car to charge. The best thing is to get it down to about 20, charge it up to about 80. That will probably be the fastest to get to your end destination if it's a long time you have to go. We are going on skiing holidays with some friends from back home. They have a nice car. We drive in our Teslas, and it's like 1,300, 1,400 kilometers, so 900 miles or something like that down there, and we just try to get there as fast as possible. But we still do our breaks because it also makes it easier for me, especially when we're driving through the night and maybe the kids are just sleeping in the back, but I still want to keep fresh and not get tired, because the others driving the ice car, sometimes they just drive like 5 hours straight. But suddenly the road trip gets really, really tough. It's hard sitting for 5 hours and focusing and concentrating and driving and all that stuff. Where we drive for about 2 hours, then we stop because I have to pee, because then I drink a lot of coffee when we're driving through the night. So we still only drive like 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours, but I rarely do that because I can't do that when I'm drinking coffee and have some water and that. Going down the highway, I need to take a break, but I also feel much fresher when I get down there, and I don't get so fatigued, because if you're driving while you're tired, it is almost as dangerous as driving when you have a drink or two in your blood. So when you only drive for 2 hours, you don't really get to that fatigue point. Sitting down for 2 hours, that's doable. You get out, stretch your leg, get another cup of coffee, go to the bathroom, and you get back and you're ready to do another 2 hours. So you don't get that fatigue doing the road trip if you do it this way. You don't have to charge your car for very long. Most of the time, we just plug it in, go away. When we come back, the car's ready to go. Another 2 hours or 2.5 hours. We just have to keep an eye on, can we get to our destination, or do we need to charge just 5 more minutes? It will be okay to sit and wait 5 minutes for the car to charge, and then we go. We don't sit for half an hour or an hour waiting on our EV to charge. If you drive like we do, and I really recommend people to drive this way on a road trip, because it makes it so much easier and you don't get so tired and fatigued, and I think your body will thank you as well for not sitting down for that many hours, and get out, get some movement into the body and get back in, and don't sit and don't drink anything because you don't want to get to the toilet. Your body don't like that either. So it actually makes the road trip much more enjoyable when you take your time. I don't know why people is in such a hurry to get from A to B when they're on a road trip like this. I am trying to enjoy the whole road trip, not just A and B, the points we're going to. We are enjoying everything. We are stopping in at a playground or whatever. We're taking our time and enjoying the road trip. And because we stop every 2 hours, we don't have to charge very long, and you don't get that fatigue. So I can drive all day. And we usually do that when we go. We were at the Tesla takeover in Austria, for example, where there are like these 1,400 kilometers home. But we did that in one go, from early morning to almost midnight. But I really don't get fatigue for driving for that many hours, because I stop every 2 hours. So I get home, I'm ready to do some work if I have to. I don't feel tired after driving 1,400 kilometers because I make breaks all the time. So even when we have to get there as fast as possible, I still do the 2 hours or 2.5 hour driving, and then I make a break. But the 1,400 kilometers down to our skiing holiday, where the other guys drives an ice car, well, they are down there like 1 hour and 40 minutes or so before we are. And that's when both of us is just trying to get there as fast as possible. But we stop every 2 hours, and they drive for 5 hours. Then they do some filling up the tank and switch drivers. And then they drive for another 5 hours. And they think it's a bit tough driving for that many hours. And I drive all the way by myself because I don't get fatigued or tired, because I stop more often. But even on a road trip where we're trying to get as fast as possible down there, and And driving 1400 kilometers, it's still only like 1.5 hours you save in your ice car. But on a road trip like this, where we're not trying to just get from A to B as fast as possible, but actually enjoying the scenery, enjoying the tour, we never really wait for our car to charge, because it only needs to charge about the same amount of time it takes for us to make our bathroom break, get a cup of coffee, some snacks or whatever for the kids, and then get back to the car. And once in a while, we wait for 5 minutes. That is basically it. So that is why driving an EV is just so awesome. It has taught me how to do road trips that is fun, enjoyable, relaxed, and not getting so fatigued of driving. But there is also a benefit of having an electric vehicle, and that is, of course, that you can charge overnight, not just at home as we do every day, so we don't go to a charging station at all 80% of the time back home. But when we're on a road trip, we also sleep in hotels, and we were actually in a hotel in London that had chargers available. It was actually a Tesla destination charger, so very easy, because we have also met other chargers that was not very easy, that we couldn't get to work and all that stuff. We had to download an app and there was no connection, and blah. It's just a mess. Tesla, you just plug it in, everything works. So that was great. That was at the hotel, and we were staying there for 3 days and then going out and seeing stuff from that hotel. So that was just so awesome that we could have a full charge of 100%. So that's like 400 kilometers of driving we could do, but we never did. But then we could go out and look at the beautiful castles and whatever we did, and then come back with a pretty much empty tank, plug it in. The next day we were ready to do another road trip out seeing other things, and we did that 4 days. 3 days in a row. So 3 days in a row, it was free, first of all, and it was just charged up to 100% every morning. So when have you ever done that with your ice car? Stayed at a hotel, wake up the next day, and your ice car is filled with gasoline and ready to go, and you got that for free? No, that would never happen. But that happens more often now, that more and more hotels actually has charging available, and many do have like these destination charges for free. So that has been absolutely awesome as well, that you at your road trip can also get free mileage while you're sleeping, and just wake up to a full car that's ready to go. So that is something you cannot get with a nice car, and where the Tesla really shines as a road trip car, when you have chargers at your destination as well. But overall, as a road trip car, I have basically been saying this every year for the last 4 years that we have been on road trips. I think the Teslas are just the perfect road trip cars, because it has taught me how to do a road trip that is more relaxed, easy, and enjoyable than when you just drive for many hours. That is really not the way to enjoy a road trip. That is stopping, taking your time, and enjoying it all. And if you do that in your electric vehicle, definitely a Tesla, because it can also charge pretty fast with 250 kilowatts. So when we are kind of aiming for those, and when we hit those, it's like these 10-15 minutes, and we're ready to go for another 2 hours, and then we stop, and then we're ready to go for another 2 hours. So we really don't wait for our car to charge, and sometimes at a hotel we wake up with a full tank for free. So love these Teslas and electric vehicles in general for doing road trips. I think the myth about you cannot do a road trip in an electric vehicle is so you have to sit and wait for hours for this one to charge. They are just myth. They have never tried to go on a road trip. Maybe in another electric non-Tesla EV, I can't say. But in a Tesla, it's definitely absolutely a joy going on a road trip. I think it's the best road trip car on the planet. Well, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care out there and be nice.